Hello, my name is Emmett Boudreau. I am one of the lead programmers here at Sabre. I'm among one other in our department of 2 programmers. It's a pretty big studio. But today I'm going to be teaching you how to use a game engine called Stencyl, which is a 2D game engine that happens to support iOS, Android, Flash, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Pretty much every platform out there. The way that they advertise Stencyl is that you can create amazing games without using any code. And today, I suppose I am going to show you how to do just that. So we're going to go ahead and open up Stencyl. You can get it from Stencyl.com. Stencyl spelled with a Y, not an I. Incorrect spelling is awesome. So you're going to go ahead and download it and of course install it, and this is the screen you are going to come to. Now real quick, of course you'll do the same thing, but I'm going to just create a project so I can show you the settings among other things. And we are going to be starting from a blank game. Stencyl used to come with a bunch of kits, but I do not believe that it does anymore. We are going to go ahead and give our game a name. I'm going to name mine Tutorial. The name is not too important for now, but you're going to want to create your assets before you create your game. Therefore, you would probably have a name picked out before you go through this. Alright, so about the interface. So, first thing I always look at whenever I go into a new interface is the menu bar. So let's start with File. Obviously we have our Create New. We have all of this stuff that you would expect. We have Preferences, which is interesting. Check for updates, which is kinda stupid. Import Game, which is, I guess, useful. Sounds like a pretty useful tool. Save game, close game, import resource, open resource, and you can create all of this stuff that are parts of your game. View. I mean, this is pretty much useless, all of this, unless you're going to be using, well, this isn't, but you're probably going to use these buttons instead. Unless you're going to be using other people's assets. Run. I mean, we'll get into that more, but the only real important things here are Android device, FPS monitor, debug drawing, and clean project. This is all basic. So publish, we can publish it to web, the Stencyl store, like the Stencyl arcade. You previously could not do it via HTML5. I will have to try it because it does have the experimental label on it. That means it probably doesn't work too well. I personally have an indie developer license in Stencyl. Therefore I can publish to desktop, but I cannot publish to mobile. Extensions. That kind of speaks for itself. I don't really need to explain that. Debug is the same thing as run. Help. I mean, there's a reason you're here. Alright, so without further ado, let's actually get to important things about our game and not just the environment that we're in. To start, up here, this is your... I don't really know. I guess we could call it like the debug square. This is kind of where you'll run your game from. So we have the option to run it from the Flash player, which is a little Java Swift application kind of thing that comes up on the screen. Or you could run it through browser, which is, it will open the little thing in your browser, which I prefer to use for debugging. Or you can make it an executable, or of course run it to Android. Of course we can't publish to Android because I only have an indie license. Gosh darn it, oh no. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at none of these two, and that's really about it here. So as for your basic settings, you get a name, description, a logo, and an icon. Display, this will just give you your size. Blah blah blah. You pretty much will never need to change any of this. Sometimes Hakes, let me explain what Hakes is. Hakes is like a multi-platform language that translates all the way across. I hope that was well explained. All of this should explain itself, but you probably don't want to leave this, edit this at all. Alright, so moving on to web. Blah 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 blah. This is all just nonsense that you're never really going to pay attention to. The only real thing here that you'll ever use is probably start in full screen. You got preloaders over here, loading screen style. Once you buy an indie license, you can actually do that. Or these two, of course, which is nice. This is all the mobile information. Now, since this is not a lesson on developing for mobile, I might make a separate lesson on developing for Android. I know nothing about iOS, so that's probably not going to happen. But we'll ignore this for now. We'll ignore this too. Except for, of course, start in full screen. Remember that. This is the loader, and this is pretty much if you didn't change it back here. So it will just let you change the design. It's kind of just look through it and figure it out. I don't want to explain it. Attributes are permanent things that your game will, for example, I'm trying to explain this, like permanent things that the user can change but won't know that they're changing. Variables that will be there forever. There we go. For example, what level someone's at so they can load their game back up. Yeah. Boom. Yeah, controls. Now, controls are all of the input for your game, except for your mouse. Now, I'm going to go ahead and remove these controls. These are the default controls. So we're just going to have up, down, left, and right. Groups, these are collision groups. We will get more into collision later. Oh, it says it right there. But we'll get more into collision later, so I'll be explaining this later. We're going to ignore atlases for now and extensions. Okay, so over here on the left, you'll notice under resources, actor types, backgrounds, fonts, blah 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 blah. Actors are any picture or image that require a script to go on them. So if it doesn't require a script, chances are it's going to be in tile sets. Backgrounds are no collision pictures, which go on the back of scenes. Fonts, I mean, I hope you know what a font is. Scenes are like levels, pretty much. Sounds, I mean, how do I explain that? Tile sets are any image that also requires collision. Now down here under logic, you'll notice actor behaviors, scene behaviors, and code. Oh my, what does that mean? Actor behaviors are any scripts that will be attached to actors. Scene behaviors are any scripts that will be attached to scenes. Code is just things like class libraries that are ran whenever the game is created. So without further ado, in the next tutorial, I will be teaching you how to create assets for your Stencyl games. So be sure to be tuned in for my next lesson in Stencyl. Thank you so much for watching my video. Be sure to subscribe to the Saber Eye channel. Goodbye.